All right. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Now, some of you who are just tuning in, I know you didn't watch, or you maybe have not watched some of the early classes. So, everything that we are building here, this community, is based upon honor and respect and loyalty. I was discussing with my sister this morning that, you know, there's been a real job of social conditioning done on us as a people that we are so disloyal. However, this character flaw is not new. It's actually something that was picked up and never really truly addressed from ancient times. So we're reading, and you see that the people consistently have a distrust and a lack of loyalty to Moses, to Aaron. They only with them because Moses and Aaron have displayed some sort of power. You know what I'm saying? And they're only with them for immediate gratification. They're not truly considering the long term. So you read it, and let's take a look at it. The moment some accusation comes out about a person, people immediately become polarized. They take sides. It doesn't matter which person you pick. It could be Jay-Z, it could be Tory Lanez, it could be anybody that's in any type of power or leadership position. Once the claims come out, black people just become polarized, right? If somebody just says so and so's a pedophile, they just gravitate towards, you know, no, yeah, because I feel, and it's just, they just pick a side and they have no basis of law, they have no basis of justice, they have no basis. It's just emotional based upon how they feel if this was this, and they begin to empathize instead of to investigate. And you can't run a nation like that. You know, if you look, right, you have Pfizer, right? Major drug corporation. And then there's El Chapo, major drug corporation. You say, no, no. That's two different things. No. They're exactly the same.
Yes.
There are two enterprises which pay people to sell and market a product. I don't care how you slice it.
Right.
Just because America says, this country says that the other one is illegitimate, you side with the agenda you're told. But let's look at this. Okay? So Pfizer can sell drugs and whatever, and they say, well, we're legitimate because if something was to go wrong with the drugs and the stuff that we give to people, we can be sued and we'll pay it. My problem is you knew it was faulty when you put it out there because you
Right.
tested it.
They make a list and tell you what side
Effects
effects.
is possible and what percentage is acceptable. So you know it's messed up. Let's look at the other side. So El Chapo, this guy, he have a whole business cartel, and they also selling drugs, and they know the side effects,
Right.
and they sell it to you direct, straight to consumer. You know what both of these have in common is that the people who work for them are loyal to the company just to feed their families, right? And in truth, El Chapo has more loyalty than the Pfizer company. That's the truth. They
Yes.
have more loyal. They're loyal to El Chapo, whether he in prison or on the hill in the palace or hidden in the jungle. His people are loyal to him. This is a problem because this is something we don't have. And the thing is, El Chapo's people are long sighted. That's the only difference. Our people are very short sighted. It's what have you done for me lately? And you can't build a nation like that. It really has to be, we're building a nation. There's going to be ups and downs. We're going to have some victories and we're going to take some L's, but we're going to do it together.
Right.
We're going to stand by each other through whatever and build. And that's what it has to be. And it can't be for the sake of getting ahead. It really has to be for the building of the nation for the future, because you tear it apart, you tear it down, you do what you want, you turn against each other because a situation has come about that it was out of your control. You find yourself isolated, alone, and weak unnecessarily. You know? So, Rabbi Sheikh, why are you talking about this? Because I'm building a nation. Because of the brothers of the congregation that are coming, I truly understand what it takes to build what we have to build for ourselves. And there's going to be some ups and downs. There's going to be some turns people just don't like. That's just the nature of it, right? And we're getting ready to read what happens when people spread bad information. So in part one, yesterday, you saw how Joshua and Caleb came back and gave an honest assessment. And the other people came back. 12 people went out. 10 of them came back and literally had horror stories for no reason, right? Fear mongering. Well, I just want you to know this is something that they learned in Egypt, and this is something that they have continued to teach today in America and the West and throughout many places, is fear mongering. So they're always, you're scared of the dark, you're scared of monsters. You're scared of going to new countries because they eat people over there, or I saw in a horror movie, or I saw this. And you have this fear inside. That's fear mongering. We're going to get rid of that before we come out. Otherwise, you're going to come out and you're going to meet some of the hardest, strongest brothers you've ever met in your whole entire life, and you're going to be afraid. Now, these brothers, they're not going to cause you no harm. They're not going to threaten you in any kind of way. We are here to build, but we're not scared. We're not afraid. So there's no fear mongering. You know what I'm saying? There's loyalty, there's security, you know what I'm saying? There's confidentiality, We deal with what we have to deal with, and it's going to be closed. So again, I discussed we have a closed line of communication. Everything is not on social media, and we're not fear mongering. Like, we don't want you to be afraid that there's a different people and you're going to learn a different culture and you're going to associate with other cultures. And it's okay for the other cultures to do what they do,
Right.
right? I'm not looking for the Chinese man to stop eating cats and dogs. He's allowed. Not in our community, but he don't live with us. He hasn't agreed to abide by our rules for any means of sustenance. So our rules, we own it. My house, my rules. So now we're building our house. And so loyalty is going to be paramount. You know what I'm saying? Some of the brothers who are just meeting me, who are just new, are going to adjust. You're going to learn the law, the system. It's going to be foreign, but you're going to see that honor, respect, and loyalty is paramount. But to the brothers that know me that are coming, they already know because we've already been through the trenches together. We've already came out to the land before and spent time out here to make connections and deal with people and have to eat together and live together for a long period of time. Everybody who came out didn't succeed in building the brotherhood, but the ones who did, they still around. They still here, regardless. So all this to say, when we read this, you're going to see this now where the Most High gets rid of fearmongers, people who spread false tales in a means of trying to sabotage morale to achieve something that's not possible anymore. So after you leave Egypt and you come into the community, you know it's not going to be possible for you to go back. Some of you are going to be leaving at a time when you can't go back. This is what's coming. You'll be leaving because you know wherever you're leaving from is pretty much a wrap.
Yes. Yes.
You know? So you're going to know that it's pretty much a wrap. But when you get here, it'll be unfamiliar.
You know, another thing in what we were reading on yesterday that is something that I myself is working past, and that is comparison. You know, because things wasn't what they were accustomed to. You know, they immediately was like, okay, let's raise up a leader to go back to the West because the lifestyle, like you said, the culture shock of the difference. And you really have to come to the place to realize that no, where you are right now is not the same as it was before, because the way we are living, our culture, our customs, our traditions, it's new for us. You know, so it's not going to be like it was where we were. It's not going to be that. And you can't expect it to be
Right.
that way.
You may say we come from the same place. You may also say we speak the same language. You may say what you learned on the way to getting here helped you to get here. However, it won't sustain you here.
Right.
You only came here because of the choice of an opportunity, of the boots on the ground, of the brothers who came out and worked with me prior, of the testing and the trials that we had to go through to build this, to get this established. That's why you're here. We created an opportunity. Nothing you've read will be implemented in the way that you expect. Because we had to come face to face with the realities of how to do it, what's the customs, what's the tradition, and what's the proper way, so that we would be successful in achieving this mission. So we are telling you it's going to be different. It's not going to compare. As a matter of fact, it's not going to compare to any other movement that has happened before, because we've evaluated them. We've lived with the other movements. We've seen where they've fallen short and what the shortcomings was. This is going to be entirely different. There's going to be a measure of culture shock. You're going to have to prove yourself. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to go through and be vetted, right? It's a process that, my brothers who were in the military, we call it NDOC. You're going to have to go through it. You're going to have to be vetted. So you're going to be proving your mettle every day. Nobody trusts you. You understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Nobody trusts you. We're watching you and we're judging you every day by this law. From day one when you arrive, you'll be expected to learn it, to uphold it, and to keep it. Day one. You don't even know it on day one. Maybe you've heard some YouTubes and maybe you didn't. You're going to go to class and we're going to go through NDOC together. When you don't show up, your benefits of the community cease. Why? Because the people who live by this law, they don't steal. Our law doesn't permit it. They don't commit adultery and touch another man's woman. Our law doesn't permit it. They don't rape because our law doesn't permit it. They don't do anything unlawfully. They don't even move out of order because our law doesn't permit it. They fight for their leaders. They cover each other. We don't let anyone come into our circle and not build what we build in. The moment we see that you're not up to code, you gotta go. Get your things. You won't be coming back. I'm telling you this now because we want you to know, it's serious before you get here. Because we've been through it. I've been out here 8 years. Okay? So smiles and jokes aside, I've been out here 8 years. I led the pack. I led the charge. I did the footwork. I did the investigation. I did everything. Our learning process on the beginnings is over. Your learning process of the beginnings is just beginning. We have to deal with a lot of things concerning you as people, mental, emotional states, health, physically, emotionally, and otherwise. So there's a lot to deal with. And work-wise, work ethic, this is the beginning of a kingdom. You're going to have to learn how you fit in the kingdom. All right. So that being said, we're going to come back and pick up part 2. All right, we're back. So we left off at 43, right? I'm gonna start back at 38.
Okay.
So first of all, only Joseph bar Nun and Caleb bar Jephunneh survived of those men who had gone to explore the land. Now, Caleb said we can go in and possess it.
Mm-hmm.
The other guys came back and said we can't make war with them, it's too many. Nobody mentioned war.
Mm-hmm. That's so true.
There is no battle. None. There's no battle. Possessing the land is very simple. You go in, you buy the land, you come in, you just secure in what you purchase. That's it, like any business. You put locks on doors and set up watches and night watchmen, security. Yeah, you're just protecting your investment. Just not, no war at all. Okay? No.
And you know, the overall, thus far to what we have read to, Joshua and Caleb's agenda was Yah's agenda.
Right.
It wasn't their own
Right.
agenda. It was Yah's agenda.
They understood the assignment. We're
Right.
going over here to see the look because we're getting ready to go over here.
Right.
Is it peaceful over there? Yeah, it's peaceful over there. We can go over here, and if this is our land for us to move in, there's areas we can move in. We can take a possession.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Right.
For them to come back and lie and say, "Oh no, there's these other people and they're great and they're going to kill us. This is a war. We cannot stand against them. We look like ants, locusts, small to them." All right. Moses spake these words with all the sons of Israel, and the people mourned greatly. And they arose in the morning and went up to the top of the mountain, saying, "Behold, we will go up to the place of which Yah has spoken, for we have sinned." So now that Moses just told them, first of all, because you said this, fine. We're not going to go into our land and move in with the brethren. Because, you're talking about you're here in Jordan, Saudi area. All you have to do is move in and just buy back land. Abraham bought land. That's all you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to do this now because God said no. So now they say we're going to now spend 40 years in the wilderness corresponding to the 40 days that you spied the land. So in hearing that we're going to be in the wilderness now for 40 years, they now regret their decision because they thought going back to the West was an option. It wasn't. They thought going back to the West was an option. It wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you were trying to get out of the wilderness so fast, you ended up extending your time. You thought by threatening the leadership with your great numbers and stoning them to death that, you could make them do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Rejecting Yah's
You're rejecting
word.
You're rejecting the order.
The order.
So let's take a look at this now. So this man made a whole nation tremble, and you watched on the sidelines. You leave following him because of the fear he put in Pharaoh's heart to let you go. And you watched the miracle where he wiped out Pharaoh's army after they decided to pursue you, thinking they could catch you when the Red Sea had swallowed Pharaoh's men. Then you watch him talk to God face to face, and you watched him give you the law and begin to teach you the rules. But your habit and your understanding is still from Egypt. So after a year and more people die, you get scared when the people start dying. You get scared. Then when you see that the God that was quiet during the whole time speak up, when you think you have the ability to take advantage, like the God don't exist no more, or he's not paying attention, or you may be right in this situation, you ain't never going to be right because you don't know the path because you didn't make it for yourself. So now they decide to get it. They decide to now lead themselves in the battle against the Amalekites and fight this war. So let's take a look.
Now they're crying out that they know it's smoke.
Right.
They don't want the smoke.
Now you don't want the smoke. What? No, we don't want to be out here for 40. That's not what we was trying to do. We know what you were trying to do. However, you don't know the outcomes of your actions. And that's what all of this advice is about.
Yeah.
For you to not be short-sighted and learn to walk things out real thoroughly so that you know the outcomes of actions, because it takes years of training. It takes years of adapting to know how things really move out here. So you're going to have to walk the walk when you get out here. So for the Amalekites and Canaanites, are there, where am I?
No, we're at verse 40 of 14.
40. And they arose in the morning and went up to the top of the mountain, saying, Behold, we will go up to the place which Yah has spoken of, for we have sinned. So you admit you was wrong. But Moses say, why will you act against the decree of the word of Yah? But it will not prosper with you. So why are you now trying to change the instruction? You're not going to win. Okay? Go not up, for the Yah Shekinah dwelleth not among you, and the ark, and the table, and the cloud of glory proceed not, and be not crushed before your enemies. So now they've moved with the cloud, but they don't really believe in this benefit. Right?
Right.
No. Moses, listen, we made a mistake. We're going to fix it right now. That's a problem here. You make a mistake, you can't fix it immediately. You just can't turn around, say I'm sorry, and just try to put it back real quick. It don't work that way. Mistakes have long-standing consequences out here. That's the way it is. You make this mistake, whatever the punishment is, you're going to eat it for as long as it takes for it to finish out what this law prescribes. That's the way it works. That's the way it was when I got here. That's the way it's going to be when you get here. It doesn't change.
Yes.
For the Amalekites and Canaanites are there prepared for you, and you will fall slaughtered by the sword, because you have turned away from the service of Yah. The word of Yah will not be your helper. So in other words, I'm telling you now, right? You caused this big stir and commotion. Now these people are prepared, thinking you want to go to war, because this is what you was doing. This is what you was doing. You there acting like you looking for war. So you set this off. When you sent men to spy for war. You didn't send men to go out and buy land and be good businessmen.
That's what Caleb and Joshua
did.
That was their agenda, their mindset.
Right. But they armed themselves in the dark, before the morning to go up to the height of the mountain, but the ark in which was the covenant of Yahweh and Moses stirred not from the midst of the camp. And the Amalekites and Canaanites who dwelt in that mountain came down and slaughtered and destroyed them and drove them with hard destruction.
Mm.
You don't have an instruction to win. You see what I mean?
That's right.
I don't care about your experiences previously or your experiences back where you came from. The only instruction to win is right here in my hand.
Yes.
Step by step, it tells us a process of how to succeed, not being rash and hasty in judgment. Okay? It's slow steps, strategic growth, and progress, long term. You know the outcomes of decisions before you make a step or a judgment. You'll know the outcome, the end game. And Yah spake with Moses, saying, Speak with the sons of Israel, and say to them, When you have entered into the land of your habitation, which I will give you, and you make an oblation upon the altar, Yah, burnt offering, or consecrated sacrifice, for release of a vow, or by free will offering, or at the time of your feast, you will offer what is acceptable before Yah of the world, to be received with approval before Yah, and from the herd of the flock.
Mm.
What happened? So we have the 10 people who made the false report. They died. Worms came out of their stomachs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If you're turning around and you're just trying to figure out where that happened, it's in Numbers 14:37. It was one verse up from where we started.
Mm-hmm.
So now, the men who gave the report for spying in the land died. And the army who went up to try to take the land by force
Died.
And when the Most High goes to speak to the people, he's satisfied. He don't even mention it.
Mm-hmm.
They were told they were going to lose. They were told they went about this the wrong way. That's it. Moving along.
Mm.
Why? It sounds to me like somebody had like an agenda, a separate agenda. You sent people to spy to see if we could make war, and they were supposed to spy and just see if it was of good reputation. Is this a good place to live?
Mm-hmm.
Are these good people around here?
Mm.
Not that they like you.
Right.
Just, can we make business here?
Mm-hmm.
Can we buy? Can we sell? Is there land available?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? What land is good for growing food? We're looking for farmland,
Yes.
right? We're looking to get our own domestic products, like gross domestic products. Can we set up shop? That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Simple, basic. You don't need to. I don't know why people read this and don't even see this.
Right.
This is not. They lost trying to go in there and fight, and there was no instruction for that.
Mm.
At no point. So the Most High continues on. All right, back to vows and offerings and what you're going to give me. Let the man who offers his oblation before Yah bring a mincha, a tenth of flour, mingled with a fourth of the hin of olive oil, and wine of grapes for a libation, the fourth of a hin to be made upon the burnt offerings, and a hallowed sacrifice for one lamb. Or for a ram, let him perform a mincha of 2/10 of mingled flour with the third of a hin of olive oil, the wine of the grapes, let him offer in a vase for the libation, the third of a hin to be received with acceptance before Yah. And when he maketh a bullock, a burnt offering, or a sacrifice for release from a vow or hallowed sacrifice before Yah. Let him bring for the bullock a mincha of 3/10 of flour with half of a hin of olive oil, and with grapes half a hin for a libation to be received with acceptance before Yah. So let him do with each bullock, with each ram, and with each lamb, whether it be from the lambs or the kids, according to the number of the bullocks or lambs or goats with which the oblation is made, so shall you do, each according to their number. All who are native born in Israel and not of the sons of the Gentiles. So make these libations and offerings and oblations to be received with acceptance before Yah. So this is for the sons of Israel only.
And this is for release of a vow.
This is for release of a vow
Okay.
or a free will offering
Okay.
at the time of your feast. And the Most High says, this is what you're going to do when you enter the land. Meaning, you're not getting it now. I'm telling you what it is for when you get there in 40 years. When you start to enter in 40 years.
So pretty much this is for when after they completed the 40 years and go into the land, this offering is done. Okay, because those 40 years included everybody dying in the camp from this sin.
Right.
Wow.
So they start entering in the land actually at the passing of Moses. Moses died and he passed, and his mountain, everybody likes to, you may know it as Mount Nebo, but it is actually Mount Ibra. Ibra, Ibra. We call it Mount Ibrahim, and it's in Oman. Right? Ibo, Ibra, Ibu, Iber, Mount Ibra in Oman. That's the burial place of Moses. We'll get there.
Yes.
One step at a time, but so it stretches all the way from Mount Ibra in Oman in the Persian Gulf. That's that body of water. The Sufi Sea is what we call it. It comes all the way back to the Mediterranean and the Red Sea. So that's what he says. Now that's for the children of Israel. And when the sojourner who sojourneth with you, or whoever is among you now and in your generations, will bring an oblation to be received with favor before Yah, as you do, so shall he. So now we know the sojourner has to follow the same exact procedures as we do. It doesn't change. Why would the Most High state it this way? First of all, you have to get yourself together. You have to do it the exact way of the book, how the book says, without question. Okay? We teach it to you. We show you the procedure. You do it this way. Now, anybody that joins with you, they have to participate in your way. They can't do their own things and be with us. It's not going, that don't work.
Right.
Okay? If you want that, you can have that right now, wherever you are. You do it your way, and they do it their way. You win the countries for that. However, in our country, you're going to follow our laws, customs, traditions, our rules, our procedures for things. Right? You will honor and respect our way. For the whole congregation, there is one statute for you and the sojourner who sojourneth. It is an everlasting statute for your generations. As with you so shall it be with the sojourner before Yah. One law and one judgment shall be for you and for the sojourner who sojourneth with you. So it doesn't matter. If you want to live with us, you have to participate with us. If you don't want to participate, you can't live with us. So now you understand why I start the speech the way I start this morning?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to live with us? You participate with us. One law, one judgment. If you want to do your own thing, you don't live with us. But I'm your brother. One law, one judgment. I just want to be very clear about this. You know what I'm saying? I got teams of brothers coming in, reaching out on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? And everyone is planning, when they coming in and preparing their funds for the building. Just want you to know, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you spread this message throughout the people. Spread this message throughout the brothers. Let them know there is one law and one judgment. Nobody does it their way. We have a book. We have a process. There is a code. One law, one judgment. That's the code here. That's the code. One law, one judgment. You want to do it your way or how you see fit, you got to go. Okay? So we're not going to have the Latin brothers doing it the Latin brother way, the Haitian brothers doing it the Haitian brother way, the African brothers doing it the African brother way. I tried that. I really did.
Yeah.
Literally, I tried it. It don't work. It don't work. All right? We'll be back. We'll close out this chapter. I think maybe, hopefully. We'll try to close it out. We'll be right back.
Verses.
We'll see.
Yes, sir.
All right. So there's one law, one judgment. And Yah spake with Moshe, saying, Moses, speak with the sons of Israel and say to them, when you have entered the land into which I bring you, and you eat the bread of the produce of it, not rice, nor millet, nor pulse, you shall set apart a separation before Yah of the first of your dough, one cake of 24. Okay? One cake of 24 you shall set apart as a separation for the priest, as the separation from the threshing floor, so shall you set it apart. So, again, you guys are coming in, we're buying land, okay? When we start, we're buying land and we're going to have some farms. So we're going to be growing produce. One of the primary produces will be wheat and barley. So when we make the produce, okay, the first of the dough, we're going to set aside for the priest. Okay? You're saying, what is this? You have to understand the law and the judgment. One law, one judgment. So, when we first start growing the first thing and the easiest thing to grow is wheat. Okay? It's easy to grow here. You put some water down and you put the wheat down, and it's going to start to spring up. You're going to get wheat real fast. So you get wheat very easily. From the wheat, you start grinding it up, you start having flour. Flour is an offering unto the Most High. So the first offering when we enter into the land is a flour offering. Why? Your flocks haven't multiplied to sufficiency yet. It takes time for them to breed up. You can't just be eating them. You got 6 and you talking about the feast day coming up and you're going to offer to the Most High. No, you cannot offer to the Most High anything, you know what I'm saying, till you have 200. You have to have 200. So your first offering is flour, okay? You're going to give them 1 out of 24, okay? So when you weigh it up, give the priest 1 out of every 24. Not 1 out of 10. The tithe is automatically the priest. He's automatically getting 1 out of 10. Out of what is left, give him 1 out of 24. That's on top. What's this for? Sufficiency. It's to store up. You need more flour than you think. Believe me when I tell you. You know what I'm saying? We got bread, we got cakes, we got stuff to do. Okay? We got to start storing up because that storage actually is building wealth and sustainability. We got more people coming than you know. So you got to have a storage. Of the first of your dough you shall give a separation before your Yah and your generations. Also, the first of the dough, right? So most people don't know how to make yeast, okay? So when you're making your first dough, we'll be doing natural yeast. So what? Make a sourdough and let it ferment, and you have to feed it. So you want to make sure the priest have some of this too.
Okay.
So he can make 11 cakes at home, and everybody is working on their projects and processes. The priest have one of the heaviest. It has a lot to do with the social infrastructure. So there's a lot of training that needs to be done. He's not working in the field as much. There is some, but there's not a lot. Okay?
So the first of the dough is the
Sourdough.
The sourdough.
Yeah.
Okay.
And should you have erred and not perform some of all these commandments which Yah has spoken with Moses, whatsoever Yah hath commanded you by Moses from the day he commanded it, and thenceforth unto your generations, if without the knowledge of the congregation sin had been committed through ignorance, this is important. So if you made a mistake, you believed you was right, found out you was wrong. So you committed a sin through ignorance, okay? Let all the congregation make one bullock, a burnt offering to be received with acceptance before Yah, with his mincha and libation, as are proper, and 1 kid of the goats, without mixture for a sin offering. And let the priest make atonement for all the congregation of the sons of Israel, and it shall be forgiven them, for it was an error. And they brought their oblation and offering before Yah, even an offering for their sin, have they presented it before Yah for their error. So now I want you to see something. So the Most High talks about, making your vows and being released from your vows, right? So why is the Most High talking to them about being released from a vow? Because you just vowed to do all that the Most High commanded by Moses. Before we got here, we just left Mount Sinai. We just commissioned the priesthood and everything, right? Here
Yes.
we are now, 6 months later, and all your vows have been for nothing. So now you have to do the vow release. Hey, you have to do the vow release. After you do the vow release, now you got to take some more sacrifices because the whole congregation's thin because they wanted to kill Aaron, Moses, Caleb, and Joshua for no reason. Because of a lie. They assumed and started planning out a future that didn't exist and was going to kill them out of fear of a future that had nothing to do with nothing. What's that called? They were going to kill them over a hypothetical theory. So they started hypothesizing about what could happen to them and their children in the future if they don't go back to Egypt. And what would happen if they continued in this path and they went out to meet these people and these people killed all of them. And all of that was a lie. So now we have to make atonement because they sinned. Where we at?
Going on verse 26.
All right. And all the congregation of Israel shall be forgiven before Yah and the sojourners who sojourn among them, for an error hath occurred to the people. And if any one man sin through ignorance, let him bring one goat of the year without mixture for a sin offering. And let the priest make atonement for the man who hath erred in sinning through ignorance before Yah, to atone for him, that it may be forgiven him. As well for the native born of the children of Israel, and for the strangers who sojourn among you, there shall be one law for him who transgresseth through ignorance. So there's only one law for the man who makes the sin and transgresses the law through ignorance. That's it. There's just one. Okay? But a man who transgresseth with presumption, right? Presumability, right? An idea that is taken to be true on the basis of probability. This might happen. It is most probable that this could happen. So if you go and you make an assumption or a presumption, right? Right? Trying to make something that to be true, but it's not known for certainty. It's not a fact. Whether that man is native born or a stranger, and who turneth not away from his sin. So now you make this and you don't turn around. You don't, no. It's not like that. We're going this way. It'll be like this. You have to allow it. If you don't allow it, you don't follow the leader. All right? He causeth anger, and that man shall perish from among his people. So that's why the people, when they came back with these presumptions about the people of the land, right? He came out with these presumptions about what would happen and what could happen, what might happen, and then you cause these people to stir up. You know what I'm saying? You fear mongering. You did this to cause these people to stir up, to try to turn against the leadership. Mosai said, nah, kill him. He has to die from among his people. So they died on the 7th day of Elul. Okay? For the primal word which Yah commanded on Sinai, he has despised. So the initial word, the primal, so this is the root. So now we're getting this is another, we're getting deeper in the law now, right? And the law is constantly repeating itself and giving refinement for better understanding. What they got on Mount Sinai was the root.
Yes.
This is a root understanding. It's the whole law. It just, at the root of it, the most primal wording, there is this. However, it plays out differently. It becomes more and more intricate and more advanced. Each time you come into various situations of how the law will adjust its application. One law, one judgment. You have to learn that one judgment. You're hearing the one law, but its application, the one judgment part, there is a tradition about how you go about it. And so because you despise that primal word and have made the commandment of circumcision vain. What's the circumcision commandment? Well, the commandment of circumcision is to consolidate you to your people, right? So if you of the children of Israel, you of the congregation, this circumcision is you shed blood to be a part of the congregation and to work for the congregation's best interest to build the kingdom. Now that you are talking against what the mandate and the order of the leadership is, you are subverting the leadership. So if you come and you play politics, it's going to be a problem. If you come and you start resurrecting your own ideas on how things should be a different way, or we should do things differently because this don't work, you are the problem.
That's what we know as usurping authority.
Usurping the authority. So you have a question about how and why things are done, as if nobody is sitting down with you and saying, listen, this is what needs to be done. Here's the instruction. We have to get these base things done before we can move on to the next step. So there's one step and then one step. Just because you don't see the point of an initial step does not mean that initial step is not necessary. If you want to get the deeper understanding, we have a book. The instruction is written. It is plain. You just don't understand.
Mm-hmm. Or it's against your agenda.
It's against your agenda. With destruction in this world shall that man be destroyed. In the world that cometh, he shall give account of his sin at the great day of judgment. And the story. And when all the sons of Israel were dwelling in the wilderness, the decree of the Shabbat was known to them, but the punishment of the Shabbat was not known. So the punishment for profaning the Shabbat was not known. So now we're talking about what happened. So this is another layer. So we at chapter 15, we stopped talking about Joshua, those men, the sacrifices, and the offering. Now this layer is jumping all the way back to before they arrived on Mount Sinai. Okay? So before they arrived on Mount Sinai, Moses taught them the law. Okay? You'll say he taught them the basic laws. The basic rules. And then before they came to Mount Sinai, we're going to read this story about a man who didn't want to keep the Shabbat. All right? So now everybody has their idea about what the Shabbat is. When you get here, you're going to observe it according to what we know to be true now. What we've already tried it, we've already tested it. This is how we've gained success. Do not talk to me about any day of the week. It don't roll that way. Okay? And there arose a man of the house of Joseph and said with himself, I will go and pull up wood on the Sabbath day. And witnesses saw it and told Moses. And Moses sought instruction from the presence of Yahweh that he might teach me judgment and make known the discipline of all the house of Israel. And the witnesses of the man who pulled up and collected wood came. So this man went out to collect wood on the Shabbat day. Okay? We know there's a problem. Ain't no work on the Shabbat. You right. You can't kindle a fire. This man, I guarantee you, he just didn't want cold food and he didn't have enough wood for the fire. He underestimated his need. So now he want to go get wood for himself to maintain and keep his fire. And I bet you he was doing this beforehand, from time to time. So now after Moses is teaching him, he gives the lesson about the Shabbat, how it's to be kept. How to start making your preparations. Moses didn't go straight into this punishment. Mm-hmm. They were taught and they continued moving. Okay? After they had admonished him, they had corrected him politely, and he had wounded the witness. The man came, he wanted to do what he wanted to do. Somebody came to him, spoke to him, he hit the man. All right. Who had found him guilty, pulling up wood, brought him to Moses and Aaron and all the congregation. This is one of the 4 judgments which was brought before Moses the prophet, which he had adjudged according to the word of the Holy One of Israel. Of these judgments, some related to money and some to life. In the judgments regarding money, Moses was prompt. This is the 3rd time we're hearing this. Moses was prompt, but in those affecting life, he was deliberate. And in each he said, I have not heard, to teach the princes of Israel of the future Sanhedrin to be prompt in decisions of mammon and to deliberate in those that involve life, nor to be ashamed to inquire for counsel in what may be difficult. So this is important. For you coming here, if you're an emotional brother, you won't find yourself in a high leadership position. Okay? Because you're going to have to be decisive. You can't have your feelings involved about money. If you care about money, you have emotions about money, you're an emotional brother. You can't lead. Not until that changes. Money, you have to be prompt. The man owes you, okay, how much can you pay him? And we can set it up. I don't care if it's $1 a month until the debt is paid. The man got 7 years to pay the debt. That's the law. Okay? Mm-hmm. 7 years to pay a debt. Okay? And if he can't pay it in the first 7 years, then fine. He have now until the Jubilee to figure out how to get you your money. He have time. It's money. Pay him, give him this. You have to pay him this much. All right? Done. It's prompt. Money is quick because he have time. Okay? The year of remissions in 3 years. If you don't pay him in 3 years, then he have the right to this much of your land to do with what he want to repay the debt until the Jubilee, and you could get your land back.
Very simple.
It's very simple. Now, in life or death, we need to investigate. I need to take counsel with my brothers of the Sanhedrin. And there will be a Sanhedrin. You'll see. Okay? It's going to work the same way. Okay? This was a problem. The law says to kill this brother for this. All right, hold on. We have not heard yet. Let's take the matter into judgment and conduct an investigation. All right. For as much Moshe, the rabbi of Israel himself, had need to say, I have not heard, for they put him in confinement. So, yes, there will be people and we will have a place of confinement because they had not yet heard the explanation of the judgment they should execute upon him. Now, our confinement is different. You will have your own space, you will be separated and confined, but not like jail, not like the prison day, the prison system. We just need to understand what's happening. You'll be here, you're under watch. Okay? So there is a place of confinement. Okay? But we're not holding you for a long time. If it come out that there's a fine you need to pay, you're free, go to work, pay the fine. Okay? That's very quick. If it's a matter of life and death, we holding you because we're trying to find a way to keep you alive. That's what we're looking for. We're trying to find the law, the case, the trial, the way to keep you alive. That's what we're looking for. We're finding the mercy. And Yahweh said to Moshe, the man shall be surely put to death. The whole congregation shall stone him with stones outside of the camp. And the congregation led him forth without the camp and stoned him with stone that he died, as Yahweh commanded. Okay? That's what it is. Why is it like this? Everybody else has been learning, they taught, and with loyalty to the instruction, what's written here, they're obeying. This man, not only is he rebelling, he's violent against his brother, and he's in the wrong because he want to do what he wants to do. So he dies. All right. We'll be right back with the closing. We made it today. All right, and in closing, and Yah spake unto Moshe, speak with the sons of Israel, and bid them make for themselves fringes, not of threads, nor of yarn, nor of fibers, but after a manner of their own. The word lesumhon. Okay? So you take the material, you're going to cut it. Right? Anybody who makes garments, they know what I'm talking about. So there's the cuts, and then there's the whatever you're going to hem. When you get to the hem line, okay, where they hem it up so that the fabric don't run, okay, what you're going to do is let the garment fringe. But there's a little bit more that needs to be explained, okay? Of their own shall they make them. They shall cut off the heads of their filaments and suspend them by 5 ligures, 4 in the midst of 3, upon the 4 corners of the garment in which they enwrap themselves unto their generations. And they shall put upon the edge of their robes an embroidery of hyacinths, shazir their tekela. And this shall be to you a precept for fringes, that you may look upon them at the time when you dress yourselves daily, and remember all my commandments to do them, and not to go aside to wander after the imagination of your heart, and not the sight of your eyes, after which you have gone astray, to the end that you may remember and perform all my precepts and be holy, like the angels, one step at a time, one word at a time, one at a time. Who minister before me, Yah, your Allah. I am your Allah, who have delivered and brought you out free from the land of the west, to be to you Allah. I am Yah, your Allah. Okay? So I'm going to be right back and we're going to get this fringe lesson. All right, here's the fringe lesson. So first of all, this is my garment. Okay? I have this tailor-made, and you'll see this garment in wraps around me. So I'm going to demonstrate by putting it on. Okay? All right. Normally the string, it ties in the back. So this is my in-wrap garment. All right? Very simple. See? Beautiful. It's made of wool. It's my garment. Okay? Now, let's home. The end of my garment is hemmed, but the hem is cut so that the garment does fringe. All right? So it still has the weight. It was hemmed to have the weight so the garment can hang. My master tailors know about this. So it's hemmed so it has the weight for the garment to hang properly. And the garment won't run ever past this fringe line. Okay? This fringe line here, the garment will not run past this. But it's fringed. And when the garment was hemmed and sewed in for the final finish, they just took the blade and ran it across the edge to release so that it can be fringed, less honed. So it's not made of fibers. It wasn't a fringe that was added to the garment. The garment itself is fringed. Now, about this hem, this thread is very simple. You take the hyacinth flower leaves, you boil them, and what you do is you just dip the thread. You know, the sewing thread. You dip it in the hyacinth, let it dry. You mark it as hyacinth. So that when you're doing your hemline to your garment, you have hyacinth. Now, I also have a decorative thread on the corner. This also, if you're going to do the decorative thread on the corner of your garments, this also is hyacinth. Okay? Because it's part of the hem.
Right.
This is a personal touch, though. This is the law. Okay? This is personal touch decoration. Okay? Now, when we come to the 5 ligaures, and you have 4 in the midst of 3. So you're going to have these. Now, these are the actual tassel fringes that go on the corners of the garment. Okay? So one of them is braided together, and 4 of them are loose. And you have 4 white and 3 purple. The tassels. So this is this is Shazir Tikela. Now, what happens is these, simple, you take the hyacinth petals, you boil them, you dip these in the hyacinth. Now, hyacinth petals, the flower petals, come in a plethora of colors.
Right.
So it can produce a dye, but they also have white which doesn't really dye too much.
Right.
So it doesn't have to even stand out like this. It can be any color.
Right. It's not just blue.
It's not blue. It's not that. It has to be this hyacinth and white. The white has to be there. Okay? If you can get it purple, you get it purple. But these have to be dipped in hyacinth. Okay? These. They have to be dipped in hyacinth, and these have to be regular. This is the precept for fringes. This is the law, the decree, with full details. Now, we will get into this again. Okay? So this garment, I'm going to have to bust it out again and show you it again because it's going to come up a couple of times. A whole lot of people died over this fringe thing. So I'm telling you now what the deal is because I don't have to deal with these deaths. I'm not burying a lot of you. I'm not. You're not even here at the beginning. So I'm telling you what the fringes are and how it works. You can't come do it your way. One law, one judgment. Starting now.
And just want to express this one main point. Women, it says, speak with the sons of Israel. Only the men
Wear fringes.
wear fringes. We don't wear them.
Okay? We'll get more into that, and she's absolutely correct. Women do not put on fringes or the tefillin. And we'll get into this too. The tefillin. Okay? So as you can see, slowly I'm developing and processing you to get these little understandings to fit the mold of what the true children of Israel are and what they will be from this point forever. So here's the tefillin. You know what I'm saying? It's not the black armband that they wear and pray. No, it's literally worn every day except for Shabbats, feast days, and other solemnities. So, tefillin. Okay? That's the fringe, and we're going to get deeper in the fringe. This fringe talk is not over. We'll be back tomorrow with more about fringes. One step, one step.
Salam.